Welcome back to Media Mesh, where I give you my unapologetic opinion on everything from music, movies, news, reality TV, and so much more as we go down a rabbit hole. And as always, you have reached the home for the intelligent dissection of social media. Now, usually I have some jokes and I try to make you guys laugh for those who listen to my videos long enough. But today, very serious subject. And if you notice on this channel, if you go to the playlist, I have a number of videos that show police interactions with the public. And for the most part, you will see that a lot of times situations that escalate and get taken out of hand and even end in the unaliving of the person stems from them being over the top and extra. But today, we have something a little bit different. And this is not all that new. You know, this is extremely unfortunate, young, beautiful lady right here. But as you probably already seen, she has been taken, right? So the officer, well, I guess Deputy Ty Shelton, who, mind you, was involved in another very similar incident with a person named Michael Thomas, 61 years old. I'm tired today, guys. Hang in there with me. But I had to come on and say something about this because this is extremely important, because we want to critically think about what's going on here. You have a situation where she reaches out to the police show up, and she opens the door. And this is where I'm going to need your opinions, right? Because I know most, black folks just in general is just automatically going to be like, it's a wrap, case closed. It is what it is. But in this circumstance, obviously she was choked by the boyfriend. Then he pushes her 9-year-old daughter. So of course she's going to be enraged in a situation like this, because this is clearly gotten out of hand. She opens the door and she says she's going to jab, we'll say, him. So obviously the police are listening to that. Now, I thought they were on the right track, because this is the situation where a taser would be the best course of action, one would think. And clearly it was, because they initially went for it. Now, I don't know from what point, because it happened pretty fast. So it went from the I don't even know where the taser went, because I saw the lady had it. Well, she had her, we'll call it a 2-piece. She had that out. Then she put it back, grabbed the taser, because dude, I'm assuming that's Ty Shelton, said grab it. Then he pulls his out. Then next thing you know, he pulls out the 2-piece. So we also have to look at it. If you remember, not long ago, there was an incident where these girls was outside fighting. I know y'all remember that. And the officer showed up, and one of the girls had we'll say a blade. I don't know what you can say on YouTube anymore, but she had that, and she was in the act of raising it up to attack the girl. And in that moment, the officer unalived her, which seems like protocol in that moment, because you can't just very well watch someone physically harm someone and not do something. So a lot of people will say, well, the first course of action should have been with the taser, which was the initial plan. But at this point, based on the proximity to her, to the potential victim, if you want to call him that, which it sounds like he was the whole instigator of this whole situation, and she would still be here if it wasn't for that foolishness. I digress. But in that moment, they chose to use lethal force. I guess in the heat of the moment, a judgment call is made. Now, based on his history, you can clearly see that he doesn't really have much regard for the lives of people of color, one can assume only by his actions in this case, and also with the case of Michael Thomas. Now, what do we do? This unfortunate event most likely will lead to more and more hostile interactions with the police. I'm not defending the police, but I am an advocate for acting like you have some sense when you have to interact with them. Her case is a little bit different. Of course, she's hysterical because of what just happened. So at this point, this is where your training should come in. You want to try to, resolve the situation as peaceful as possible. And the taser, I'm guessing his argument is going to be, in that moment, I thought she was really about to do something, and that's why we did it. But of course, now you have this $30 million lawsuit. So this is really just going to come down to court. So the bigger overall picture in my mind is that, what is the training? How often is the psychological evaluations taking place with these officers? Because again, like I said, on the channel, I see so many negative interactions with the police and with the people. And just imagine you're going from call to call to call during your 8 or 10 hour shift, however long the shift is, and you're facing numerous hostile situations. The truth is, a lot of these people have developed a image of how they see melanated people. So, and it's not right, obviously, but it's clear based on the dealings they have with most melanated people. You already have an idea, you have a archetype of what you think melanated people are, what they're going to do. So you're almost always coming into it with some officers with a negative outlook. Not all, because there are plenty of videos out there that will show you that this is not the case. Bottom line, top line. Very tragic situation here. Her boyfriend obviously is to blame in this situation, based on the fact that she called him because he had choked her, and now he's abusing her daughter. So it's natural for someone to want to defend your family in a situation like that. So that's out the way. The other point I want to make is that so we can try to quell some of this tension between the police and black folk or melanated folk, however you want to call it, we actually need to be in a situation where we respect each other. The police definitely need to respect black folk, melanated folks. I don't know which term, we'll use them interchangeably tonight. And then also, even though we don't necessarily agree with it, because of course, there was a time where the Panthers wanted to police our own communities. And they wasn't going to have that. But now there's a resurgence for that coming up. So that's a whole nother topic. But in this particular country in which we live, this is what we have to face with. And if you know anything, you know the origin of the police, and that's not necessarily a good origin, right? But we don't want to exacerbate the situation when we have to come in contact with them. This doesn't necessarily apply to her situation specifically, obviously not. But the point I'm making is that if you're watching this video, when you see a lot of us that's just getting taken out of here in a situation where if we were to just allow cooler heads to prevail, some folks would still be here, and then in this time of crisis and trouble, you're going to want them there. So the whole situation with defund, I'm not necessarily for that, because, I know full well if some craziness go down, I'm going to want to make a phone call, okay, to somebody can come and rectify the situation. So I don't think that's the answer, because then you'd have lawlessness, right? Because if they're responding to crimes, not her, so make sure you listen carefully before you comment, but then the interactions where is hostile between the police and us, these are the situations I'm referring to. Especially if you're wrong. If you are hustling or doing whatever, you stealing, doing all types of stuff, when you get busted, hey, that come along with the territory. Own it and keep it moving. Take accountability for your actions as a grown man or grown woman. Again, this is not directed to her. So please, no misplaced comments. This is the home for the intelligent dissection of social media. And tonight, in an effort to save our lives, and again, this is not about her, beautiful young lady, extremely crazy situation that took place. Because yes, they should have came in here. Of course, you're not going to stroll in there being calm, because you have to quickly assess what's going on and make sure that you secure the situation. Now, it is also ironic because I'm sure when they first came, they understood that it was a call from a female explaining what happened. So just from the jump, I would have thought they would have kind of focused their attention on him. But in that particular time, she was the one that was yielding the weapon. So of course, they're going to react sharply to whoever in the moment is the aggressor, according to how it looks. Hindsight is 20/20. So the only question becomes, should he have just used the taser? She would still be here. Or will he be justified in using lethal force? Time will tell. Hope for the best, guys. Until next time, peace and blessings.